with Hal Higdon, an amazing author, over 45 books that he's published, and he's still going strong. Hal, it's great to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about the relaunch of your book.
Yeah, I wrote this book, Marathon, the Ultimate Training Guide, back in 1993, and unlike Phidippides, it won't die. So we've gone through 3 prior revisions, one in 99 and one in 05, and the 4th edition coming out literally right as we're talking here, 2011. And what me is sort of remarkable is how much the sport has changed in these years. Maybe on the surface it doesn't look like it's changed, but you know from being on the inside how really professional the sport has gone. The other major factor is, of course, the fact of so many women involved in not only the marathon running, but the half marathon today and the charity running, which sort of has helped create the boom that the running boom has started in the mid-70s. It sort of had a second boom in the 90s, and it just hasn't stopped. It keeps going. I don't know what happened. A lot of crazy people running marathons, huh?
Well, and you were one of the launch points of a lot of that. I mean, some people know, but maybe a lot don't know that you ran your first Boston in what year?
I'm afraid to admit it.
Now, come
so
on.
How old I am, 1959, and there were only 150 started that race, but they were all fairly accomplished runners. You know, they wouldn't have had any trouble making the standards that we do now have in the race. And in the next decade, because of a jogging book by Bill Bowerman, the aerobics by Ken Cooper, all of a sudden we came out of the decade with 1,000 runners at Boston, and the BAA was crazy because they didn't think they could handle that many on their narrow course. So they put these qualifying standards in, which only inflamed the masses to want to do it more. And so now we're at the part where 30,000, 40,000 runners in a race is not that extraordinary, and the race directors know how to do it. They know how to do it.
Well, of course, when you were running, the road from Hopkinton was just a dirt cattle road, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, they also had horses along giving us water rather than Gatorade. No, you're kidding. It was still paved back at that time. But at the same time, you know, we always had a tailwind, and it was downhill all the way, so we got all those fast times. What's great to me, I think, is the emergence of so many slow runners who go in and they just go in to have a good time. And again, we're going back to the fact the women, that's what attracts them. You know, they're less time-oriented than the testosterone-scarred males. And, yeah, they just want to run the race with their girlfriends and have a good time.
I think that all sounds good to me. On a going-forward basis, a brief comment on barefoot running.
I started barefoot running back in the 60s, and I still do it, but I run on grass. I run on the hard-paved beach down in Ponte Vedra Beach where we have a winter place. I think if you go out and read a best-selling book and discover you want to be a barefoot runner and go out and do 5 miles on pavement, I think you're going to be in the podiatrist's office the next day. So I think you have to go about it gradually and sort of get it in gradually and then see if it's for you.
All right, and on a final thing, you travel coast to coast worldwide. Where will we find Hal Higdon in October, November, and December, and January? I know you're going to be at Walt Disney World.
I'll be there, yeah. I'm excited to go back to Disney. You know how much I love the races down there. Yeah, because of the book, I'm doing a lot of promotion of it here in Akron this weekend, next weekend. Twin Cities, which is one of my favorite races. My daughter lives up in the Twin Cities, so it's always an excuse to go her. And then Chicago, but of course she's running Chicago that weekend. So we have 3 marathons in a row, and then a couple of weeks off, and I'll be at New York, Philadelphia, Memphis, the St. Jude Marathon. That's really a great race. And finally the Jacksonville Marathon, and then see you at Disney.
All right, this is Hal Higdon. He is a legend, a legitimate legend. Look for him at those upcoming events. Thanks, Hal.
Thank you. Great.